Welcome back, focused learners, to another explainer. Today, we're tackling something we all experience, but, rarely actually understand, and that is boredom. We usually picture an idle mind as just an empty one, right? Like a totally blank screen just sitting there waiting for the show to start. But what if there's this hidden, completely contradictory relationship between a bored mind and a highly creative one? Well, today, we are exploring the boredom paradox.
Okay, let's dive into this. Is a wandering mind wasting time? It's a super simple question, but it totally challenges this massive assumption we all carry around in our hyper-productive world. I mean, we've basically been conditioned to believe that boredom is a failure of focus, like a glitch in our daily matrix. But what if that void is actually an incubator? What if a wandering mind isn't wasting time at all, but is actually embarking on a totally necessary expedition?
So, here's the big idea. Boredom doesn't just act as an automatic switch. You don't just stare at a blank wall and suddenly, boom, you're painting the Mona Lisa. But under the exact right conditions, it absolutely can spark creativity. See, when your mind finally loosens its sort of anxious grip on whatever immediate activity you're doing, it starts searching. It reaches out into the dark, feeling around for fresh, distant connections, and it starts mixing your random everyday experiences with these half-formed thoughts.
Act 1. Papa's take on daydreaming. So Papa, the author of our source material, he views daydreaming not as a glitch, but actually as the mind's protective reply to boredom. Just imagine your thoughts floating in like leaves on a gentle stream. When you're doing something really low stimulation, maybe you're taking a quiet walk, standing in the shower, or just driving down a long, empty highway, your brain remains gently awake. It's in these completely unforced moments that your most vibrant ideas just naturally arrive, carrying fresh possibilities. However, we do have to be grounded here, because there is a very real risk, which is losing focus when a boring but absolutely critical task has to be finished. Papa realized daydreaming isn't just some magic wand you can wave unconditionally. If you are up against a strict deadline, wandering attention can pull you away precisely when you need to execute. Basically, your mind drifts out to sea right at the exact moment you need to be docking the boat.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how the science actually backs this up. Act 2. Science of the drift.
Think of your brain as having a spectacular backstage crew. In neurology, this is called the default mode network, or DMN. When your external focus drops because you are understimulated, the DMN steps right onto the stage. Boredom acts as this biological signal telling your brain, hey, there's nothing interesting out here, so let's quiet down and turn inward to generate our own ideas. But, and this is a big but, not all boredom is created equal. The right kind of boredom is passive and low stimulation. Think about spending 10 to 30 minutes doing a routine chore like folding laundry or just sitting quietly. That fosters creative incubation. High frustration boredom, on the other hand, like being trapped in a completely pointless meeting or battling a broken spreadsheet, well, that just creates this restless disengagement and it actively hurts your performance. And the data proves just how complex this whole thing really is. To put this into perspective, a 2023 study by Zeisig and Panache tested over 100 students across 5 different emotional states. And the results? A fascinating mixed bag. Being in a state of boredom actually decreased verbal creativity across the board. But remarkably, figural performance, which is your visual creativity and your ability to picture new concepts, increased the most during boredom discomfort. So it uniquely boosts how you can visualize the world, even if you can't quite find the words for it.
Act 3. Navigating the wandering mind.
So how do we actually use this in our daily lives? Well, a 2022 study in the Journal of Creative Behavior highlights a very distinct dual influence. Taking a break to let your mind drift is fantastic for spontaneous creativity. It helps you generate flexible, intuitive ideas like wildfire. But on the flip side, it actively decreases deliberate creativity. If you need to persistently and systematically analyze a complex problem, mind wandering will just stall you out. It's a pretty profound trade-off, really.
Which brings us to the ultimate goal, and this is the core takeaway, guys. Note the immense value of being fully present to recognize exactly when your mind begins to drift. Catching yourself in the act of being bored is literally a superpower. It can allow you to purposefully move into a creative state to explore those wandering thoughts, or if you're on a tight deadline, it signals that you need to take a brief break to refocus your energy.
Act 4. The 5-minute reset. So when that high frustration boredom inevitably hits, you can synthesize all these insights into a quick, practical reset. First, just notice the drift. Be present. Second, intentionally step away from the task. Third,
Give your mind a chance to literally stretch its legs. Stand up, move around, check in with yourself. Seriously, just 5 minutes is usually enough. You aren't fighting the boredom here. You're resetting the system so you can return to that frustrating task with totally renewed focus.
And that brings us to a wonderful Papa-inspired closing thought. He says, daydreams, when given their proper space, became welcome friends rather than unwelcome distractions. So think about it. The next time you find yourself staring blankly out a window or standing in a long line at the grocery store, what are you going to do? Will you instantly reach for your phone to numb the silence? Or will you accept the invitation, let your mind explore, and just see what brilliant places it might go? Thanks for learning with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.